Hi, hey, hello, and happy Monday. We are so happy to have you here. I am Kirsten, this is Tristan, and we are Haseya Inc.
Hello, happy Monday. And thank you for being here with me, Kirsten, because this is just such an honor to do life with you, always. And it's such an honor to do life with y'all and have your input and have your insights with our conversations so that we can, serve. That's what all this is about is, us serving and seeing where we can help with a simple conversation of like just bouncing off of some things and taking some things apart a little bit just for our understanding, and that's how we grow.
Absolutely. So, welcome to our Monday conscious conversation. I don't know if you can feel it in the air today, but there is some bubbliness happening because what a magical week it has been. Some shifts that Tristan and I have moved through individually, but also opportunities and work that has aligned, that has allowed things to happen. So, Tristan's going to share a little bit about that.
First of all, one of the things that we talked about this morning of being so grateful that we have just kept following our gut and just kept going and just kept exploring what's here and what we can serve because it just keeps we just keep becoming through the journey that which, even we dreamed of at the beginning and and just like that release of timelines of what it has taken to get even at the clarity of what we're at because we've all been always been serving so wholesome and so beautifully, but just the way things progress because we just keep committing to ourselves and to our practice and to finding that clarity. But I had a beautiful opportunity this weekend, and it was a dream come true. As you all know, I grew up with horses. I I junior rodeoed, high school rodeoed, college rodeoed, went on, to do, open rodeos and stuff like that and barrel racing. But horses have been a big part of my journey. Horses have been a big part of all aspects of my journey, injuries and pain and loss and grief and um, also what like we've got to uncover, there's so many belief systems that they mirror us to call us forward because of the divinity, these spiritual beings that they are. They see through you. So my dream was always to like heal the horses because I had had so much experience of horses being hurt and losing horses and like, not reaching my goals because of things going on with horses. And then as I started doing this deep work and becoming the coach that I am and the practitioner that I am, I was like, oh, it's not about the horses at all. It's about us. It's about us. It's us we have to heal. It's we have to go first. And as we heal, that bridge between us and our equine partner gets to heal. And the space that our equine partners hold for us that mirror the things that are within us, just like we talk about the master class of relationships, this goes same, okay? It puts you in a position to where you get to choose to really heal on next level. And so I did a retreat with some beautiful, brave women this weekend with their horse partner. And we had 2 days, we camped, and we went through some really beautiful processes. And I did this with a friend of mine that is a horse trainer that has really awakened to a different way of training, to a more wholesome way of connecting and training instead of the way a lot of us have learned to train. And that's just do it, do it, do it. I said so. I need the power. I have the power. You must submit, out of the fear of, how big these animals are. Absolutely beautiful opportunity. It went so well. These women, they came. Thinking is like, oh, I'm having some anxiety, I'm having some fear of like what I want to be doing and unleashed so many layers It was the most beautiful thing. And of course, just lit me up because of the way the horses, their horse partners, supported their journey and the healing and the grounding and the transmuting of the emotions and right there, real time. And there was no denying it. It was the most beautiful weekend. I am just truly understanding how blessed I am this morning and how beautiful things come together when we commit to creating and creating and creating and getting clear and showing up and putting these unique um, talents and interests and passions together to be who we're supposed to be. And that's always what we're wanting for you, right?
Absolutely. If you're just listening to this in audio, you can't even see the emotion that's arising within Tristan, but I know that it is viscerally felt also just within her words. And if that's not a testament to what we mean by when we come here as a space of service, it's really what it is. And of course, it started from, I don't want to say an incongruency or a lack thereof in our lives, but we were seeking something. We were seeking something deeper, and through our unique passions and gifts, different things get to be birthed, which is such a beautiful example of commitment and what's possible when we continue to lean in, that we don't make ourselves wrong, we don't make our animals wrong, we don't make our expertise or gifts wrong, we're not insufficient, we're not broken, we're simply just waiting to heal. And this is not to definitely be in the space of we constantly need something to fix and being addicted to this self-help and healing process, but to ultimately understand all that you are. And so ah, what a beautiful representation of that, sister. So grateful for you and so grateful for those women that answered that call this weekend.
Oh, for sure. Yes, for sure.
So, last week, if you didn't watch that live, go check it out because we talked about a series that's coming up. But before we dive into that next week, we felt like we needed to really talk about embodiment and what that can look like before we start talking about different principles of happiness. Because it's one thing to learn a concept, an ideology, a spiritual principle. It's another thing to take those things and begin to apply them to your life, to integrate them and therein embody them. It's really what, gets the ball moving and shifting in our life. So we're going to talk about that today, which, whew,
Woo, that's a big one. Yes. Isn't that a representation of what we were just talking about, becoming the embodiment of that which we want? We have to become the embodiment of that embodiment match, that who can hold that desired dream that we're having. We have these desires. You guys, you don't have these desires. This is still the conversation for you because there is something in you that there is a deep desire that needs to be uncovered. That's why we wake up every morning. That's why we strive. That's why we enjoy. That's why we play. That's why we show up. And going into our 30-day practice, it's just a perfect conversation because the steps that are in that are just so beautiful to just focus on this thing and that thing with that one focus in mind. I'm sorry, that one focus in mind and having the guides and the little things that help us just get more clear and more clear. And what it comes down to is becoming the embodiment of that value that you're really holding and you're wanting to experience. And we have to intentionally choose it. It doesn't just fall in our lap because we decide, yeah, I want more peace in my life. Bam. Peace be upon you. This is an act of embodiment, an act of intentional living. And how do we do that? How do we do that? We create a practice, we create a life purpose statement, we create a focus that we stay present in day to day.
yeah, absolutely. Hmm. And so where do you even start? I'm sure some of you have heard that type of articulation or any of those words, and some of you are like, purpose statement. how I'm supposed to direct my day. I mean, I have to be at work at a certain time. I have to pay a bill by a certain day. I'm directing, I'm doing the things, but it's so much deeper than that. And it is your purpose for living and why you're showing up, whether you're a wife, a mother, a sister, or just moving through this life as a friend, and you've got deep connections with your coworkers or your other soul sisters, whatever that is for you. Really getting to that root of who you want to be, what it is that you're desiring in life. And we're not saying that our 30-day commitment challenge is going to uncover that for you, because it's a really big question, but it's a really great place to start. It's how you start to learn how to get clarity, and then how to intentionally direct your mind and move throughout your day. Because it's one thing to say, okay, I am a divinely appointed mother. I'm committed to peace and understanding and connection in my home, to feel that viscerally, to desire that, but then knowing how to embody that throughout, your day, other than just having your incantations or your mantras that you say. Because we can say the things until we're blue in the face, but until we're ready to believe it, until we're ready to accept it, we're really not going to see that needle move in our life. We're going to continue to have that internal battle and that external struggle where life is reflecting something differently to us. And so this challenge really empowers you to understand your ability to create and co-create in this experience that we call life, and then how we're going to move through it day by day. So you can literally adopt any kind of challenge, any invitation with these same principles. So you want to do 75 hard, but you've never been able to follow through. Okay, let's look at that. I want to commit to a 30-day spiritual practice where I'm deeply submerged in my Bible, or I'm doing yoga and I'm taking care of my body. But around day 5 or 8, something always happens and I don't ever do it. And then we feel bad and then we don't want to start something. I set a New Year's resolution at the beginning of the year every year, and yet, February comes around and I have a lot of shame because I told a lot of people about who I wanted to be or what I wanted to become.
Yeah. Um, when it comes to making lasting change, like decisions, and when it comes to doing maybe a 30-day challenge, you really have to sit down and you have to decide, you know, what are the reasons why like I wouldn't do this? Or like, what are my excuses? What are my excuses? What are the excuses that I'm going to find throughout this challenge that are going to talk me out of showing up? How am I going to use this challenge to overcome some of those things, right? What are my whys? And not just the one why, but Dean Graziosi says, like go 7 deep. Keep going, whys, because it starts uncovering some, you're like, oh, wow. And then that last one is like, if I don't do this for myself, what's the outcome? We have to have more of a feeling and a why and an understanding as to why we would show up even on the morning that you don't want to, because it's inevitable that that's going to happen. So you need to be prepared for it. And that's why we create life purpose statements for ourselves, the 4 areas of our lives, our goals, our purpose for existence, our passion, and what we want to experience in our personal and business lives. And what we do in return for that is our North Star, the days that we don't want to get out of bed, or the days that, we're just like, what's the point anymore? We've been doing this for years and like we're talking empty rooms, what's the point? Um, Having a North Star, your why, is what helps push us through and pull us through and stay committed to becoming the embodiment of that which is on that statement. So why do you do a 30 days challenge? You don't just pick, you can just pick a random challenge so that you're like, I completed something. I focused on something for 30 days. What I want to invite you with this 30-day challenge, this 30-day challenge gets to be any focus that you want it to be, any focus that you want it to be, and how to support your mind, how to support yourself with these steps to understand yourself a little deeper, get more clarity on that one thing, how you get to pull it into your life, how you get to keep showing up, understand it a little bit more so you can be more committed to it so that at the day 33 it doesn't, you're just like, ah, did it, cool. Learning how to make these things long-standing new habits because it takes longer than 30 days, it takes longer than 28, it takes longer than 65, it takes longer than 75. Habits take a long time to create because we're creating new neural pathways, and that could be, this is so funny. What was it? It could take anywhere between 28 days and what was it, like 1,000 something days? Because everybody's different. And I was like, wow, okay. Hope I'm not the 1,000-day person for it to become automatic, but that's just you have to make the decision to create new habits in your life that create lasting change in your life. And it does take that commitment to create new paths in that brain. And when you learn how to control things like that yourself, you learn how to have more control over your mind and how you create with your mind and how you create with your emotions. We're getting into like pretty fundamental coming back to our power and understanding how to navigate and create, quit managing and create.
Yeah, and then you basically are unstoppable.
Yeah.
When we can learn how to get out of our own way with these tools and principles, like quite literally, what can you not achieve? I
Ooh.
mean, in actuality, when we really sit with ourselves and we're asking, what is in the way of this being, the reality of my life, we can have lots of surface reasons where we look at our job or our partner or our kids and we look at the blame. But when we really get into those why questions in that reflective state, it's us. We're keeping ourselves in this and stuck in the same habitual pattern for a reason. And it's not because you're not worthy of receiving what you're desiring. It's not. No matter how much we believe that or perpetuate it or think that it's just not for you, everything is for you. All of it. So, we want to talk about some things that we can do to kind of prepare ourselves to do this challenge. So, whether you're gonna do the 30-day commitment challenge with us or not, that starts on December 1st. What are some other things I can start doing right now to help building those neural pathways and supporting my nervous system? So, one of the first things that we teach our clients to do is to create a space because consistency is key when we're establishing a new habit, right? So, Tristan and I have a spot or a space that we like to do our spiritual practices in our own home. It's familiar. When our bodies step into this space, we viscerally feel this call and like connection to be with spirit, to be with ourselves. It didn't feel like that at first. I'll say that for myself. It felt very mechanical. Okay, I'm gonna come. I've got my cute little pillow. I've got my blankie. I've got all my books. I've got all my things. I've got my Palo Santo, and I've got a bowl, and I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna get there. And then I found breath. Okay, breath changed my freaking life because I had a mind that was so beautiful and so loud. It wanted to distract me and it wanted to pull me away from the stillness as much as it could because I had all of these barking tasks that were telling me how much more important they were. So I would implement breath into my practice. Yes, I would get into my pretty little space. I would, feel good, make sure I was hydrated for when I woke up so my body was, not barking at me for an actual need. And then I would do breath and I would quiet my mind and I would allow myself to sit in a space. Sometimes that started with a guided meditation until I felt, like cool, calm, collected to direct my own mind. Felt empowered as a prayer warrior to drop in. If you never prayed with us, this is another visceral thing that you guys can do. Prayer can look however it needs to look for y'all. but we bring our hands together, we move it back, and it's a scientific reason. It's not just because we're, these angelical prayers that want to do this and prayer look a certain way. We're actually connecting the left and the right hemisphere of our brain. We are speaking to our vessel. Okay, I am here. I am centered. I am ready. I am open. And so over time now, when I start to move my hands together, my little hairs on my arms start to stand up. My body's like, whew, here we go, because movement's about to happen. This connection with spirit's about to go down. Let's get into it. So, and I open that up to you, Tristan, to kind of just talk about some like little things that they can do in their practices to prepare them, because we hope you're going to join us for this challenge. But if not, these can just be little tools you can start to implement in your day to day where you're feeling more calm, more centered, more grounded.
Oh yeah. And I'm just like, yeah, yeah, all those things. Um, I think what we need to understand is that we're creating all the time, and when we don't have any intentional direction or practice to center, self-reflect, and align through prayer and silence, and then we're ping pong creating. We're creating off of the world. And when we create off the world for too long, it becomes hell because it's chaotic. We're just in a bunch of that's my source, that's my source, that's my source, that's my source. We forget our source and we're living out here and we have absolutely no control. We are out of control. We are in our limiting beliefs, in our subconscious minds because we're not present enough in the moment to see beyond some of our limiting beliefs and commands that we're just creating from there. So we are never seeing change. The practice is really important to me because I have to start my day being aligned, self-reflecting, being grounded and present so that I walk into my day knowing who I am and being grounded for the day. And then it's like, bring it on. And in that, when I'm raising my frequency on a habitual basis, I'm creating. I'm creating with what aligns with me. I'm creating with my values. I'm creating with my desires. I'm creating from a space that's aligned and grounded, not responding and reacting to the ping pong that happens. We jump out of bed and we're just for the rest of the day responding. So spending that time creating and initiating and surrendering to align in a different way to start the day, it really does change everything. And for me, it is breath, it is silence, it is just that check-in, grounding, grounding. I'm here, I'm conscious, I am present. And you may not always have a huge block of time. So you were like, this is the one thing. These are the other supportive things: breath, meditation, prayer, journaling. These are, this is my intention for the day. This is how I'm going to stay present today and respond rather than react and all these things. And then, maybe coming back in the evening and having that same like check in. How am I doing? How am I feeling? What came up for me today? What did I make that mean today? Because as we start recognizing and spending more time in self-reflection and recognizing kind of how we're creating and responding to life, we're we're illuminating, we're softening, we're able to, when things are softened and enlightened, we can start making changes. But if we never spend that intentional time, we really can't because we're just responding out of it. So those are my really thing. And another thing that I brought up is if I'm just like my energy's low and I'm like, I can't get that goosebump feeling prayer thing this morning. I'm like, yeah, I recognize. I recognize. Um, how magnificent. You know, I have songs, prayer songs that help me to like get into that. I mean, full blown tears and elevated, surrender. And then I'm like moved. I sometimes have to get a little exercise, get a little movement, get my body, maybe the stiffness broken up a little bit. And that's learning me and how I can get into that peace and that space, what works for me. And as we like try little things, you figure out what works for you that has you in that aligned state that you're most valuing. Maybe it's that peace to just start your day, or and then moving through with the intention of your practice being, I am present, I am observing, I am actively participating in my day. That's a practice, right?
Mhm. Absolutely. That just like took me to a place like, okay, Leanne Rhymes, set me free.
Yeah, yeah,
If you have not listened to her chant album, oh my goodness.
yeah.
It's really funny because when Tristan and I first became friends, she introduced the album to me and I was like, this is not for me. This is really, it's not for me. I really liked like the drumming and the chanting and was just in a different energetic footprint. And over time, I don't know, I have just moved with her. It speaks to me. So find your thing. And that's also why we just give you examples. There are things for you to try and then for you to feel into to feel what feels good for you. And that in itself is embodiment. Yes, there is a lot of really deep stuff that we teach our clients and we go into in our community to where we're really understanding how the brain works, the psychology behind our behavior, all of the things. But in actuality, you're being present with your day. You're being aware of yourself and you are consciously directing your mind. And so that's what this challenge is all about. We love it, and that's why we're offering at the end of every semester that we have. If you don't know, we have 3 semesters a year. They're broke down into 4 month increments, and it's designed for our clients who are in this deep immersive coaching experience, somatically releasing their trauma and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then they're getting to come to this reflective place and looking at, okay, where was I at? Who am I now? Where am I going? What do I need to commit to? What am I ready to drop into with these 30 days? And so, as we've done it with our clients and we've had such great feedback, here we are to you as the public being like, look, this works. This is really intentional. How can you implement this in your life, whether you're deep in the work or you're not? There's a space for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely, there is.
We love it so much. We hope you got value out of today and you're getting excited about this challenge and what it means and how you can start to apply these spiritual principles and embodiment to your day to day, whatever that looks like for you and your belief systems, as we dive into happiness next week. I don't know any individual who says, I don't want more happiness in my life, and what that can look like. So, next week we're going to talk about love, which is great. Inviting more love into our hearts individually. Maybe that's also expanding into your partnerships and into your home. But we're always going to start here first. And so, what a wonderful, wonderful thing to talk about as we move into the holidays.
Absolutely. Meet us back here next week, and we'd love to hear what you picked up out of this conversation. We love you so much. Have an amazing week.